Alright, so this is going to be homework helper number 3, and I'm going to be going through some of the problems from homework number 3. So this first section, it says in exercise 1 through 12, determine whether or not the relation represents y as a function of the domain. Let's look do that. As a function of x, and then find the domain and range of those relations which are functions. So let's just start off, why not? Let's do number 2. So if it's a function, then you have to find the domain. So for this one here, if we look at that, the idea is I'm trying to see, does an x value map to more than one y values? So -3 maps to 0. I don't see another -3. 1 maps to 6. I don't see another 1. 2 maps to -3. I don't see another. Oh, here we go. 4. 4 maps to 2, and 4 maps to -9. So since 4 maps to both 2 and -9, it's not a function. So I don't have to write the domain and range. Let's try number 5. 5 looks like a good one. Number 5 says x is an odd integer and y is an even integer. Now I know your first inclination might be when you see this is to think, oh, well, if it's an integer, that means like odd and even, they'll never overlap, therefore it must be a function. But it didn't say that they can't repeat. So I can say that 2, right? X is even, or sorry, x is odd, y is even. And then I can say 1, 4. X is still odd, y is still even, but now 1 has mapped to 2 and to 4, and so therefore that's not a function. I like that problem. That was a good one. And let's see. Number 6. It says x is an irrational number. So let's do that one. So number 6, if I say x is an irrational number, let's just say radical 2, well, that's going to map to 1. That radical 2 can't map to any other number but 1. If I say radical 3, that also has to map to 1. Radical 3 can't. So there's no other number that radical 2 can map to. And so my domain is going to be x such that x is an irrational number, or an irrational number. Yeah, we don't want to say x is all real numbers because real numbers includes the rational numbers. And my range, that's going to be 1, because it can only be 1. Cool. Let's look at the next section. This one, it says in exercise 13 through 32, describe where or not the relation represents y as a function of x. Maybe it's supposed to say if. Might be a typo. Describe whether or not the relation. There it goes. So describe whether or not the relation represents y as a function of x. I'll go fix that. And find the domain and range of those functions, which are the domain and range of those relations which are functions. Okay, so let's do that. So if I did like number 13, okay, if I were to envision number 13 right here, that is so blurry, never mind. Just looking at it, it's going to pass this vertical line test, right? It's only going to pass once, pass once, pass once, pass once, pass once, pass once. And so on number 13, I could easily say that number 13 is going to be a function. So yes, it's a function, because it only passes through once. It doesn't fail the vertical line test. And so my domain is going to be -4, so all the x values, -3, -2, -1, 0, and 1. My range is going to be all the y values. So here's my first y value. I know it's different looking at it sideways like that, but -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. What about number 17? Number 17, this one here passes the vertical line test, right? Because here, like, there's no way. And so my domain, it looks like there's nothing over here, so it looks like it's going to start at 2. If I were to project it, let's see, let's try this again. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. That's fine. If I were to project the x down, that's going to be this. And so if I were to project that down, it's going to start from 2 and go on all the way to positive infinity. And so now my range, with my range, that's going to get projected this way, and it starts at 0, and that's going to get all filled in. And so my range is going to be from 0 to positive infinity. And so that's going to be my range. Let's look at another few. Ooh, this is a good one. Well, it looks like it's not including the edges, so I can't include 4, but x is going to be between -4 and +5, which can't be included because of the dotted line. And same thing with the range. My range is going to start at -3, not inclusive, and it's going to go all the way to +2. That's a really good one. I'll let you guys figure out how to write that one. That was a good one. All right, so in these next ones, it says in exercise 33 through 47, determine whether or not the equation represents y as a function of x. Okay, so for these ones here, what we want to do is we want to solve for y, get y by itself, and then in the lesson I said if you see a plus or minus, we know that it can't be a function. So if I have, let's just do number 33, I have y equals x to the 3rd power minus x. Do I see a plus or minus? The answer is no. So because there's no plus or minus, yes, it's a function. There's no way that through this my x value can get mapped to more than 1. Maybe number 39. X equals y squared plus 4. Well, if I minus 4 on both sides, I get x minus 4 equals y squared. Square root both sides, and I get plus or minus the square root of x minus 4 equals y. So for this one here, because I do have that plus or minus, okay, that means that if I plug in a value for x, like 1 won't work. Let's try 5. Right, 5 is going to give me 1 for a positive one and a negative one for y. So because it's mapped to both of them, it's not a function. Uh, 38. I have the graph x equals -6. So let's say that's -6 right here. Well, if I graph that, that super fails the vertical line test because it is a vertical line. So that's also not a function. Alright, and let's see, maybe I'll look at one of these. Let's see, explain why the population P of Sasquatch in a given area is a function of time t. Ooh, what would be the range of this function? Ooh, that's a really good question. So the population of Sasquatch in a given area is a function. So the idea is at a particular time, can the population of a Sasquatch in a particular area be more than one value? Can it be 100 Sasquatch and then 300 Sasquatch? No. So that wouldn't work. And then this might be a good one to kind of share with people. Explain why the relation between your classmates and their email addresses may not be a function. And what about the phone number and social security numbers? So let's take a look at that. Examine that and talk about that with your classmates. All right, so this does it. I hope this answers a lot of your questions, and if you do have any questions, go ahead and talk to me in class or go ahead and leave them in the comments. Have a good day.